Mr. Speaker, last weekend there were deserted beaches in areas of Lake Winnipeg where there were extensive algal blooms, or as people call them, green monsters. I tabled photos for the House, Mr. Speaker. After spending a weekend not being able to swim, Manitobans are wondering if this government has actually reduced the input of phosphorus by even 1% of the 50% that they've promised. Can the Premier finally provide us with a date that the 50% reduction in phosphorus going into Lake Winnipeg will be achieved?
For the question, because the phosphorus reduction strategy for Lake Winnipeg and indeed other bodies of water in Manitoba is a very important part of the plan we put in place for a more sustainable province and a more sustainable agriculture, and of course keeping our freshwater lakes in good shape. The measures that have been taken are directed at both specific sources of phosphorus and non-specific sources of phosphorus which come off the land. We know in the 2011 flood a lot more nutrients, including phosphorus, went into the lakes with the enormous amount of waters that were moving through this province at that time. We know that the phosphorus reduction plan has requirements for septic fields to be changed in Manitoba so they don't leak. We're making very significant infrastructure investments in sewer and water, and all of these measures together, we believe, will make a difference going forward, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, in August 2003, the government said it would have Lake Winnipeg well on the way to being cleaned up by 2006. But now, since then, in the 10 years, there have been endless delays in getting progress in terms of cleaning up Lake Winnipeg, including removing phosphorus from the City of Winnipeg sewage. On May the 30th of this year, the Premier had the gall to say that after 10 years, he was still once more renegotiating. Can the Premier tell us by what date the phosphorus will be fully removed from the City of Winnipeg sewage, or is he still renegotiating, and renegotiating?
Mr. Speaker, there has been very significant regulatory requirements as well as investments in infrastructure for the City of Winnipeg. The West End treatment plant is now fully compliant. The South End treatment plant is underway as we speak, and we've made contributions to that. And the remaining challenge is the North End treatment plant, for which the City of Winnipeg has to put a plan in front of us to show when they will have a full conversion there of the treatment of wastewater in that facility. That plan they are asking for more time on. We obviously want them to get it done as effectively as possible. The Clean Environment Commission has weighed in on this as well, and we have made a commitment to funding that. But this is exactly the kinds of reasons that we need to invest in infrastructure in this province, Mr. Speaker. It allows our lakes to stay clean, it allows our water to be healthy, it allows us to have a growing population without greater environmental risks to our community.
Mr. Speaker, but when will it be done? In 2050? Come on, the Premier's got to do better than this. Mr. Speaker, there are concerns we're looking at serious chemical contributions on top of phosphorus leaching into the Red River with the recently licensed sewage lagoon in East Selkirk. We know the Lake Winnipeg Foundation has said that the location and the nature of the lagoon is inappropriate. The Mayor of St. Clements himself agrees that he would prefer a method of wetland filtration, but has indicated that it's beyond the municipality's budget. With announcements left, right, and centre about this government spending, why is the Premier choosing to shortchange safety, health, and the environment instead of putting improved water management strategies in place?
Mr. Speaker, on the contrary, improved water management strategies are being put in place. Improved protection for communities from flooding is being put in place. Improved investments in wastewater treatment is being put in place with specific requirements to be able to reduce the amount of phosphorus that comes out of those plants and goes into our natural waterways. And that's very much a part of what we're doing for the future and very much what we're investing in terms of our infrastructure program. I do note that the leader of the Liberal Party and all the members of the opposition are opposed to resources which invest in those kinds of infrastructure improvements. They're opposed to legislation which reduces phosphorus off the land. And they're opposed to the kinds of things that will move Manitoba forward to have a growing economy, more people living in the province, and a more sustainable economy with less pollution and clean waterways. And you know, we have some of the finest lakes in the world. The Blue Flag Award has been awarded twice in Manitoba for our beaches, and we only hope that we can keep them all clean, and will keep them all clean going forward so people can enjoy them.